going on, brother?
What up, killer?
Ain't that much, player. Just another week, as you know. Once again, we're back for another week. First and foremost, we always want to thank our lovely following, the people who watch the show weekly and tell us how great or how wonderful or how bad they hate the show. All of y'all feedback is welcome. So, but want to definitely start with that. And if you are watching this and you are not subscribed, like, comment, subscribe, share. With a fellow bodybuilder, man, we're just here to, promote the sport, build the sport. As long as we're in it. That's my intro. So, so now we're going to talk about a few things. I think this is a surprise episode for me. Usually I lead the conversation, but I know you will be leading it today. So we'll see what kind of mess I'll get into today with you leading the conversation. But first on the book of business, we had a show this past weekend called I hope if I butcher it or butcher any one of your names, I apologize in advance. Please do not come in my DM talking crazy to me. But the Los Campanos Natural Cup was this past weekend. It was a men's physique pro only show. So I have a picture of the top three right here. So of course you can't see it, but their Instagrams are on here. But in third place we had Mardavian Eakins, I think is his last name, but Mardavian took third. He's one of Nonstop clients. He looked great, dude. Like, I remember this guy from probably 2 or 3 years ago. And I think Nonstop said he took 3 years off, but dude has a solid physique, made crazy improvements. I think he's going to be definitely a force. I think he just came in a little off, which probably was the reason he took third. Second is Brian Stewart, if I'm not mistaken. I think he is he's from out of the DC area. I could be 100% wrong. I spoke to him on a few occasions. But great guy. And then last but not least, we had Nathan Parker. If you guys don't know, you have heard that guy's name over and over and over this year. It is because he is on his third pro win of the year. I guess he's trying to catch Jamaal. But he won the Florida Pro. He also won the Arizona Scorcher. And then last week, he just finished with the Los Campanos. And he is also a part of Team Egoless Strength. So, definitely have to highlight that. So, big shout out to all three of those guys who took the top three placings at the Los Campanos.
Yes, sir. And like you said, shout out to Nathan because he's been on a freaking roll this year, man.
Yeah. I think it's his fifth show too, because he did Double Down and No Gear before those two. So
right. Well, and then he did Clemson. He did Classic at Clemson.
So he did like 7 shows this year. Like he did. I forgot Buford. He got second at Buford. So yeah, he's been on a tear. He's been rolling. But he's finally cracked the code, and now he's taking wins home consistently.
All right, so let's get right into it. 2 things happened last week, and I want to get into the first one.
Okay.
All right, so the first thing is, if you ask in a nice way, you shall receive. So thank you, Sully, for my Hall of Fame medal. Like I said, these things are nice, and I was kind of jealous I didn't get one before I left Massachusetts, but I got one now. So thank you, Sully.
And then you give away your other medal? Like you?
I did. Well, it was the OCB medal. Yeah,
you got plenty of those.
Yeah. And another thing happened last week, which is highly unlike you.
What happened?
You announced something, quote unquote, big.
It's not big.
Usually, we did an episode for the people that's just catching up with us. We did an episode like a year or 2 ago about announcing and not announcing. Yeah. And you was on the line of not announcing. Right. But this year, there's a new pep in your step, I guess, and you announced that you're doing the presidential this
year. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, you did. So just take me through that. What made you announce that you're doing a presidential this year?
I mean, I think it was multitude of reasons because before we even met, I was the guy who was announcing shows. Like the year I did No Gear, I announced it well in advance. And people knew about it, and it just drew a lot of ruckus. So then I went more so of the approach where, hey, like I'm gonna just show up and do what I'm gonna do. And then I even went back to the episode we shot this year, and I was just like, and we were talking about Silent Assassins, and I was like, I think on that episode I was just like, man, yeah, that's the move, right? But I felt like with Presidential, it was a little bit different for me this year. The mindset's a little bit different going into the show. It was more so of a relief, right, for me to just say it. I got tired of people asking me. I got tired of people talking about, oh, I thought you was doing this show. I thought you was doing this show. To the point where it got annoying, So I was just like, also, it's almost like by you being quiet, you're getting asked at every show you go to. You're people's wondering. So then sooner or later, I started telling a few people, and I was just like, I'd rather people hear it from my mouth than it gets back to me that somebody know I'm doing the show, right? So I'd rather that I say it than somebody else tell you, and then you're like, oh, I know you're doing this show. It's almost like, I mean, we know instances of people messaging people around me saying, hey, Eric's doing this show. So just leave it at that. I was just like, I'd rather put it out there publicly, so then that way you hear it from my mouth as to assuming or hearing it from a source that I told that I thought was a trusted source. So
as we know, there ain't no trusted sources around here.
Right. So yeah, it is what it is.
So as far as that, man, do you think is there any pressure for you going into this show? Because as we know, when you're announced you're doing a show, that may pull other competitors in, or that might make other competitors think twice about doing the Presidential now. Like, Eric's going to be there, so I'm going to sit this one out.
I mean, there ain't no pressure on me. I mean, at first, I ain't gonna lie. Like mentally, I was just like, oh, there's pressure. I never won this show before either. Like, so what is the pressure on me for? Like, is there pressure in regards to me wanting? Like, I think the pressure more so is self-inflicted on myself because I want to do well. It's my first show back, so the pressure on me isn't from the outwardly source of somebody beating me. It's more so of me not doing what I need to do to be successful. But with the whole other like people showing up or whatever, and if that's their motive to come to the Presidential, I'm glad I gave it to them. But I mean, for me, Presidential was on my mind since last year. So if your only motivation is to come beat Eric K, I'm glad I gave you that. And if you're not coming because of that same exact reason, then hey, I'm glad I gave you that as well. But like I said, I never won the Presidential, so I mean, there isn't no pressure for me to win. If I lose, it's just one of those things where it's like, well, I just, lost the Presidential. So it is what it is.
All right. So how many people actually hit you up in the inbox and was like, oh, I'm going to do Presidential now because you're doing it? I'm just wondering. I'm curious. If any.
More than 3, but less than 10. So anywhere between there.
All right. And this is just, I always think about this. When top tier pros announce that they're doing a show, right? Do you think the athletes promote these shows, or do the promoter really promote the shows? Because like I just said, you announced that you're doing Presidential, right? So that's going to draw people in now to either do Presidential or watch Presidential. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, for sure. I think it depends on the show, right? Because I don't ever want to take anything away from Bobby, who promotes the Presidential. There are some other shows that I feel like the promoters aren't as promotion heavy as like a Bobby. Mm-hmm. So I think with Presidential, Bobby promotes the hell out of his show. So I think people will come regardless. But I do think athletes move the needle. And what I mean by that is, it's like I can't guarantee this because I can't see, I won't ever see the numbers, but will there be more live streams because people who follow me say, hey, I want to watch Eric compete again or watch these people compete again? I think so. Will it potentially draw 4 or 5 more athletes who potentially wasn't doing the show? That very well could be a thing too. But most of the people that I know, they were doing it before. They were doing it before, but I think athletes definitely move the needle for these shows. But some promoters do their job the right way. But I feel like hypothetically, if you would have announced any one of your shows, 2 or 3 people might have showed up just to try to get a crack at you. But since they didn't know, they just didn't do it. But that's on them. You can't win a show unless you show up. So,
which is, we can save this topic for a whole nother pod, but that's still funny. Well, it's funny to me that you say that because, like, I got people in my inbox asking me, am I doing a presidential or this, that, and the third? Like, bro, leave me alone. Like, I'm not the Yorton Cup champion. Go knock at his door and check him. Like, quit worrying about me and saying you're coming after me. But like I said, we can save that for a whole other conversation.
right.
But yeah, like you said, not to take anything away from Bobby, because Bobby does a great job at promoting the presidential. He's probably the top promoter, I would say, that, like, with the memes and stuff, man, it's just funny. Like, he come up with some funny stuff to promote his show. So next thing, I have one more question. Oh, mentally, where's your mindset and your mental at this year, and how is it different from 2 years ago when you last competed?
Honestly, I think I said this to my team, so I mean I'll share it here. This has probably been my most hardest prep mentally. Like in regards to associating prep. I think as bodybuilders who've done it for a long time, we associate prep with being hard, right? My prep has been a cruise for probably about 16 weeks, right? So I'm like, oh, everything's going great. Where I end up, let's just say sliding off the rails a little bit because I'm ahead, because it was easy. But now mentally it's just like, all right, cool, lock in. Like I think in prior years when I competed every year, that on and off switch was like that, like lock in, we're locked in. Taking a year off, it gave me a different mental space because one, I did a long prep. I've been in prep since January, came down from 225. So I'm like, oh, okay, this is easy. But flipping that switch, which has been flipped already now, it took me a while to get there. That doesn't mean like, oh, I'm out here cheating crazy or anything like that. I'm just talking about when it comes down to being 100% on my diet and my workouts and cardio never phased, but I think the diet, locking back in on that 100% was probably my hardest part.
Absolutely. And I know me and you had talked, I think it was yesterday or the day before, about, just the mentality. And like you said, like this year, like for me, I'm unbothered. I'm just doing me. And it literally, I never said this out loud, but it literally took me a while to get into this headspace because after I stepped off the Yorton stage last year, I just heard different things. And the things came from people that I highly respected and that I thought very highly of. Mm-hmm. And I would defend those names in a room if they wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? And that same energy wasn't reciprocated back to me. So that I carried that for a couple months, but I finally got over that. So like I said, we talked about it the other day. I'm good now, bro. Like I'm in a different headspace. I'm just out here having fun with it. So
yeah. And I just feel like, and like I said with me, I think mentally, and kind of going back to the first question, I don't mean to, go back and switch subjects, but it's kind of like how you talk about pressure. Like, it's not like I came out here and said I'm going to win the presidential. You know what I mean? Like, there's people who out here who I think, I know, I'm pretty sure David Cole won't have a problem with me saying this conversation that we had. I seen him at Prezi 2 years ago. And I went up to him and I was always like, I said, the thing I respect about him and about a lot of other athletes is we're not the type to come out and say, hey, I'm going to win this show. Like, we don't predict the winner of a show. But like I know him and like he knows me, we're competitors at the end of the day. We all show up to win. But I feel like it's blatantly disrespectful for somebody to come out and be like, I'm winning this show. Okay, cool, bet. We'll see on the show day. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's fuel, right? But I feel like me announcing just means I'm going to be there and I'm putting my name in the hat to win. That's just like the lotto. You got to put your name in the freaking machine to win, right? As competitors, it should be a given. Like if Eric coming, he wants to win. But I'm not going to come out and say, hey, I'm winning the presidential. That's disrespectful. And I'm not disrespectful.
Man, there's a lot I want to say, but it's growth, man, growth. So I'm gonna just leave it there. But nah, you're absolutely right, brother. You're absolutely right, man.
Well, I said that before. Hey, call me out if I did. I don't think.
No. I'm just talking about another individual. But we're just gonna leave it there, man. You know, like we just gonna leave it there.
All right, I ain't going there. But I think verbiage matters, and I think conversations like that matters. Like I have enough respect for. I think we said something on a previous show. Like I'm confident in my ability, right? But I'm also humble, and I have enough humility to know that I don't dictate or I don't control the outcome of what happens on that stage. I just happen to control everything that happens up until I walk on stage.
Right.
So as soon as I get on stage, everything is out of my hands. So for somebody to come out blatantly say, hey, I'm going to win this show. And honestly, I'm not going to curse. I'm trying to work on myself. I think the craziest thing about when people like me and you do shows or even like other top athletes that we consider top athletes, I feel like some people don't even want to win. They just want to beat us. And that's weird to me. Like if I place 5th and a dude plays 4th, he's going to be happy to have just beat me. Not even win the show, but just to beat me, which is crazy to me. So it is what it is at this point. Like, because the crazy thing is, like, our objective is to win. Their objective is just to beat us, no matter where we place.
Bro, you right on, bro. Like that, you told no lie there.
So,
and the funny thing is, like, I don't say this to people when they tell me that. I'm like, bro, I am a 4th place guy. I placed 4th at the York. Why are you coming at me? Like, there's 3 other people ahead of me. I'm 4th place. Why do you want to beat me so bad? Like, why?
Yeah. No. And like I said, I think, well, this will come out before I make the post, but you know, there's a lot of other reasons why I wanted to do the presidential. So I'll put that in the reel or the post that I'm making. But I feel like the competition there is going to be great. I'm predicting it to be probably one of the bigger shows out of the year. It always is, but I'm just expecting men's physique to blow stuff out the water this year. So I'm excited, man, because I think it's not a warm up. You know, we always say that it's not a warm up. I feel like that's going to give anybody who's considering the Yorton a realistic feel. I mean, I don't think anything matches the energy that you're going to get at the Yorton, but I think a lot of people are going to have to make business decisions after the presidential.
Yeah, we always say that. Like, I feel like presidential actually sets the tone for the Yorton.
Yeah.
You know, some people may disagree and whatever else, but that's how I feel about presidential. It actually sets the tone for the Yorton Cup. So.
Yeah, and I think one of our earlier episodes this year, we talked about how we feel like the landscape of competitors this year was going to be better. Like we said that. And I think we have been seeing like a lot of emerging people, you know, coming out this year. A lot of people surprising, making debuts. Hell, in Classic, we've seen earlier in the year, Donnie, Eli, the guy from Arizona. Like all these guys are like coming out the woodworks. Like I said, I think both of our divisions, even bodybuilding, we've seen some newer guys in bodybuilding. I think all of these divisions are in good hands for years to come, regardless of, you know, whether we carry the torch for a couple more years or whether somebody come and take the torch. So it is what it is.
Absolutely. And I agree with everything you just said, but the biggest thing to me is when you do see one of them guys that looks so good or that looks really good, and then you see the rest of the lineup that don't look so hot, don't automatically say, hey, he's a top level competitor. How would he do in a pro lineup with other pro bodies that look just as good as that body? So that's the only thing I do not like, is when you get this one guy that looks really good and lackluster lineup, and they automatically try to compare him to one of the top pros.
Yeah, and that's I think that's the nature of the beast. I think it should stop. You know, the comparison. And I think it's funny because like when I judge shows, I guess that's what kind of, I don't want to, like, I hope this doesn't come off because, you know, sometimes I get misconstrued and my message gets messed up.
Everybody eat you up. Go ahead and say it.
It is what it is. I feel like that's why it's so important that some judges are active competitors and they see what the pro level looks like. Like, I have been on judging panels where I judge the amateur show and I'm like, yo, you have a pro level you have a pro level physique. I didn't say like, oh, you have a, you know, world champion physique, but you have a pro level physique. Like, you're ready right now. And then there's the people who will tell somebody they're ready right now when they won't be ready for another 3 to 4 years. So it may be from people being so far removed from actually competing on the stage and standing next to these people to actually give a person a realistic expectation of, hey, you may, you know, take a good off season and try next year, or you're ready right now. There's a lot of people who are, I'm not gonna say a lot. There's some people who are ready right now to go and place pretty decently at a pro lineup, or hell, even win shows. Like, you came in as an amateur, you won your pro card, and you end up winning the Yorton. That's been happening pretty often the last few years in each category. But I'm not saying that there's like 5 people in each category doing that every year. It's usually just 1 or 2.
Absolutely. You mean to tell me you're not out here telling men's physique guys they can place top 5, top 6 at the Yorton Cup, man?
And my number one saying I say is, at the end of the day, my word is all I got. Even if I don't got $1, I got my word, and I make sure to keep it. So if I tell you you're gonna go play 6 at the Yorton, I must really mean it. And so I ain't telling nobody that. Like, heck no, bro. Like, placing top 6 at the Yorton for any category is extremely hard. So for somebody to boost somebody up and tell them that, that's insane. Like, especially if they never competed on that stage. And I know we rambling now, but this is when the best parts come out. Telling somebody that they'll go place top 6 at the Yorton is a tall ask for anybody, whether they have the physique or not, because those lights hit different. That stage hit different. Like, if you haven't been there, unless you have a lot of stage time, those lights are going to hit differently. You're going to be nervous because you're standing next to people that you probably looked at for the past 3 years and didn't think you were on their level. When, I mean, if you're in that lineup, you are, but that mental mind game of that will definitely get into some guys' heads. I see guys at regular shows who swear they're top 3 every show and don't place because those lights hit different. Like, we all look good. You said what?
I said, talk to them. It's different, man.
Hey, we all, like I said, we all look good by ourselves. For the most part, if you come in shape as an amateur, you're going to beat 85% of the field. Like, coming in shape is the most important thing as an amateur. But the difference of when you touch that pro level is you got to have a pop to your physique. You got to have a wow factor to your physique. That's going to make you stand out against other pros who have a wow factor or a pop to their physique. So that's the difference between the amateur and the pro level. Like, amateur, you could probably get by on having 2 out of the 5 things from the criteria. On the pro level, you're going against guys with 4 out of the 5 or 5 out of the 5 things in that criteria. So if you're coming with 1 or 2, then that means you're going to have to improve something to close that gap. And that's what it is.
Absolutely. Nah, that's good, man. But like you said, we kind of rambling on. So before we end this, go ahead and give the people one piece of advice or a tip to amateurs or pros or whatever the case may be, moving forward, you know, for the rest of the year. What's one piece of advice or tip you can give these competitors out
Gotcha. I've been using this one a lot. So I use this with my athletes. And once I got to the mental mind state to say this to myself, everything else clicked, like everything else relaxed. So the nugget that I have for everybody is basically never place your value in the placer. Place your value in something that you can control. Your placing, you never control that. The judges control that. So therefore, place your value on, did I improve from my last show? If it's your first time as an amateur, is this the best I ever looked in my life? You know what I mean? Like, place your value on something that, hey, I followed my diet. Hey, I did my cardio. And if you win, cool. If you lose, then maybe somebody was just better than you on that day. And I ain't even going to say maybe. Somebody was better than you on that day. Let's just put it that way. So then that way, there's no back and forth in your mind about what happened. So basically, like I said, never place your value on the placing. Place your value on the process, and then I promise you everything else is going to go smoothly.
All right, I like that, man. And hey, grind it out for the next 5-6 weeks, man. Presidential is right around the corner.
6 weeks.
You don't put yourself out there, so of course you got a target on your back. So hey, you know what you gotta do, big dog.
Hey, absolutely. And before we end this, y'all, make sure y'all go check out Chula Wear. Chula's our sponsor, Chula Fitness. Go grab your board shorts, grab your customs, grab your briefs, grab your slippers, your robes, whatever you may need. Go check her out. Grab that stuff. Of course, use our codes eShell10 or Carolina Muscle to make sure y'all get that good old discount. Who don't like discounts? We gave y'all the family discount, so please go use that code. But that's all I have today. We'll see you guys next week. Hopefully, we got a better topic. If you guys want to hear us talk about anything, make sure to DM the Let's Talk About It page. But until next time.